about LinkedIn video? Are you wondering about how to create content to build your personal brand? Well, you're going to want to check this show. Come on back. Welcome one and all to Nez Nation Live. It is so nice to see you. Come on in. We've got a spectacular show for you today. Before we get into it, you're going to learn a lot about LinkedIn video marketing today. We're going to talk to one of my dear friends, an unbelievable content creator who is just really experimenting and creating unbelievable content, video content specifically on LinkedIn. And we're going to get to that very shortly. But before we do, I just want to say hello to the chat. Hey, how you doing? Charlie Dog's in the house. There he is. He's in the chat right now. How you doing, Dale? Dale's in the chat. How you doing, Charlie Dog? I know, right? Sundays have kind of been difficult for me lately. It's really funky around this time of year, Charlie Dog. So I hope to remedy that. We will be going live this Sunday, and I've got a lot of things to share with you today. Before we bring in our guest, who, if you're wondering at all, is LinkedIn the place for me? Should I be on LinkedIn? I see a lot of YouTubers going on LinkedIn. I see a lot of content creators. I see a lot of people doing more than just advancing their career or putting their resume up on LinkedIn. You're going to want to check out this show, and you want to share this out immediately. Share this out with your friends. Share this out with your audience, because they're going to learn a thing or two about LinkedIn marketing, specifically LinkedIn video marketing, and how to build your personal brand on this unbelievably new burgeoning platform. I say new because ever since that Microsoft bought LinkedIn back in 2016, everything has changed. The look of the platform, the feel of the platform, the UI, UX, the reach, the engagement, the conversation. LinkedIn Live Video was just released on beta very, very recently, which I don't have. LinkedIn, if you're listening, what in the world? Hello. And so I'm very, very excited to bring with you this guest that we're going to talk about. But before we do, I have to say we are sponsored, as we are every single show. If you're listening on the podcast or if you're watching this live, I'm going to leave the links in the show notes. We're sponsored by BeyondTheBoxAcademy.com. This is the #1 academy with unbelievable digital courses and products to help you chart your course in the online world, helping you build your reputation, helping you to communicate your message so you can impact your audience. Go check out BeyondTheBoxAcademy.com. Over 28 years of yours truly's experience as being a business communication professor, a business owner, a content creator, a father, you name it. I mean, I've done it all. And I'm bringing and culminating all of my years of experience into this beautiful academy, my baby, my dream. I'm going to make it better and better. We're coming out with new content, new courses every single year, every single month. I can't wait for you to go check it out. So go check out BeyondTheBoxAcademy.com. Let me know where you're coming in from. It's good to see you, Dan. It's good to see you, Charlie Dog. It's good to see you guys. Dale's in the house. Also, I want to also say this. We do have a Nez Nation Live podcast. Some of you are listening to this right now. God bless you. I love you. We also have some of you guys watching this or watching the replay may not know that if you go to Spotify, if you go to iTunes, if you go to Google Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, you're going to find Nez Nation Live, the Personal Branding 101 podcast, which this show is obviously being recorded live. If you're listening to this on the podcast, it's after the fact. But you got to go check out our podcast. We've got 99 reviews, 5-star reviews. We're ranked on iTunes for personal branding on the first page. And our podcast is just getting more and more leverage and more momentum. We're trying to teach you to create your online reputation so you can impact your audience, discover your purpose, and communicate that to the world. Everything you need to know, whether it's trying to advance your career, trying to grow a business, or build your own community, you got to go check out the Personal Branding 101 podcast, Nez Nation Live. Also, on top of that, I'm very, very excited to announce, I think a lot of you guys are going to love this, we've also got a return appearance from the great Nick Nimmin. Nick Nimmin will be actually him and Dale might be tied for first. We're actually going to have the great Nick Nimmin on our show on the 20th. Mark your calendar. On the 20th of this month, we've got the great Nick Nimmin. That is a Thursday, early in the morning on the West Coast, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. You do not want to miss this. This is going to be a great show. Nick Nimmin, who has just passed the 400,000 subscriber mark. He's been on our show several times. This will be, I believe, his 4th appearance on Nez Nation Live. We're very excited to have him back on the show. So make sure that you mark your calendar. We've got Nick Nimmin, the great from #Niminati, coming to Nez Nation Live, sharing his journey. It's going to be a little bit different, too. Like, I'm not going to be, I think Nick's done enough shows to where he's talked about YouTube growth, fast tracking your success on this wonderful platform. I don't think I don't think he really, he's got so much content. He's got so many amazing videos that are going to help you with your YouTube growth and getting started on YouTube and being successful on YouTube, growing a business and brand on YouTube. I'm actually going to talk a little bit more about the psychology, methodology. I want to get behind the mask of Niminati, and I'm very, very excited to bring that to you. So it's going to be a different show. Even if you've seen Nick, on different programs or you've heard him on podcasts, he's been on stages across the world. He spoke at Vid Summit, which I was lucky enough to be there. I've been there 2 years running. May go a third time. I'm not exactly 100% sure if I'm going this year. I'm going to try my hardest. But, there's so much content out there that Nick has provided to help everybody with their YouTube growth. I'm going to be asking him some questions that I think are going to kind of send it in a different direction and give you a little bit more insight, maybe perhaps psychological insight into the mind, the madness, the creative, sort of recipes and creative processes that Nick undergoes, especially what he's been doing on Instagram lately and what his plans are. You're going to definitely want to check out that show. It's not going to be your average interview with the great Nick Nimmin. So again, June 20th, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. Mark your calendars. You definitely want to come check it out. How's everybody doing? I want to know in the chat how many of you have maybe started on LinkedIn, have a LinkedIn presence. I know, Charlie, you've kind of gone on LinkedIn a little bit. You've been kind of entertaining the idea. I want to see in the chat how many of you have experience on LinkedIn, and how many of you are just thinking about it. Let me know in the chat. Is that Flash Fam in the house? Do we have Flash Fam in the house? So I want to hear from you in the chat before I bring on our awesome guest, and we're going to get him in here very, very soon. How many of you are producing, building, creating, starting to create, thinking about it, strategizing. Keith Wheeler, how are you, sir? How many of you are entertaining the idea of being on LinkedIn? I've been on LinkedIn for about 10 plus years now. I just passed the 20,000 follower mark. Hooray for Nez. It's my top performing platform. My business eats, sleeps, and breathes on LinkedIn. The majority of my clients come from LinkedIn. I am a LinkedIn coach, executive career coach. I help clients build their LinkedIn profile. I've got videos on that. I've got a course on that if you're interested. As a matter of fact, with my upcoming guest who's going to come on the show very, very soon, we've got, Dale. I did a couple of interviews on Dale's show, on his YouTube show, on his podcast, that we really do a kind of step-by-step audit of LinkedIn profiles, a LinkedIn tutorial. What are some hot tips, best strategies, advice for building your LinkedIn brand and building your LinkedIn profile to attract the right audience? If you want to go check that out, I'm going to leave the notes on the podcast show notes, as well as this live stream. I'll leave his channel and I'll leave those videos in the show notes. Make sure you go check them out after you stick around and watch this awesome interview. So I'd love for you guys to tell me, what are your thoughts on LinkedIn? What is your strategy on LinkedIn? Have you been on LinkedIn? Are you thinking about LinkedIn? Let's see what we got here. Charlie says, I've signed up, and have a slight profile up. I want to leave this comment on here for just a second, because I think a lot of people, Charlie, fall into this category. I think a lot of people are still a little suspicious, or perhaps just a little reticent to really start anything or get anything cooking on LinkedIn. I think that this show is going to help you the most. Anybody who's thinking about LinkedIn, even anybody who's wondering, what is the point of LinkedIn? Should I leverage LinkedIn? You're going to get the most out of this show. Dale has been journeying, for the past 12 months, 8 to 12 months on LinkedIn, creating massive amounts of value, creating a lot of content, engaging with the platform. He has gone full steam, and he's going to share his experience. He's going to share his journey with us. He's by no stretch of the imagination a LinkedIn expert. He is a self-publishing expert and coach, and he's built his brand on multiple other, platforms, YouTube, Amazon, you name it. And he's really been getting cooking on LinkedIn. I'm going to bring him on in just a second, but I want to leave this comment up here because I think, Charlie, you're not alone. I think a lot of people are still wondering, why are people focusing on LinkedIn? Isn't this the Grandpappy's website? Isn't this a website for CEOs or chief financial officers? You're going to find that that couldn't be further from the truth. Actually, as I said before, since Microsoft bought LinkedIn, LinkedIn has become an unbelievable platform for building your personal brand and reaching the right people and creating that sort of value and that thought leadership. And we're going to get cooking with that in just a second. Dan Norton, who's got a great video. Good to see you, Dan. Dan says LinkedIn has been great for getting potential clients on discovery calls. Absolutely. Hey, CK, I didn't know that. I've been on LinkedIn for longer than YouTube. That's awesome. Well, I didn't know that. That's very cool. Keith says, I have a LinkedIn account for my regular job, but not for my author YouTube brand. Keith, that's got to change. That has got to change. Thank you so much, Dan. Dan says, those 2 shows you did with Dale was so helpful to me in setting up my profile on LinkedIn Understanding. Dan Norton, who's going to be on the Nez Nation Live podcast very, very soon. I'm so proud of what you've been doing, Dan. If there's anybody, and I just want to say this really quickly, most of you guys might not know who Dan Norton is. If there's anybody who exemplifies what, we like to say here in our Nez Nation community, bringing more I almost got it the wrong way. I almost reversed it. Bringing more humanness. This is our sort of mission statement, our mission mantra, if you will. Bringing more humanness to this digitalness. If anybody exemplifies that more, I can't think of another person who does that in spades than Mr. Dan Patrick Norton. He's got a video marketing business, and he helps small businesses with their video marketing so they can grow, gain clients, gain customers, gain leverage. And his engagement with the community, his work ethic, his absolute loyalty and commitment to helping people is bar none. I'm so proud to have you, Dan Norton, in the Nez Nation community, and I can't wait to have you on the show. If you want to go learn from somebody and watch how somebody engages with communities, how he is so authentic, so real, so serving. We talk about this all the time. If you want to build your personal brand, you got to take yourself out of the equation. You got to stop thinking, what do I get? And start thinking, how do I serve? It's all about serve, serve, serve. If you serve your audience, if you bring them without selling to them necessarily, watch what happens. Serve your audience with content that solves their problems, that fits their needs, that serves them in some way, shape, or form. You're going to have an amazing brand. More importantly, you'll be able to make de monnaie, which is French for Monet. That didn't make any sense, but that's okay. Money is what I mean. So, yeah, it's interesting that you say that, Midnight, Charlie. It's very hard to explain, but I'm not sure if LinkedIn is for a racer. I'm not sure if I would disagree with that. As a matter of fact, Charlie, I would say there's probably 0 racers on the planet who are even thinking about LinkedIn. So imagine that blue ocean, if you will, the blue ocean theory of creating content, going where there is more early adoption capabilities, going where there's not a lot of traffic, not a lot of competition. I would say this is a perfect time for you to start creating a brand on LinkedIn because, look, the people who fund these races, the people who create these races, create the racetracks, create the infrastructure, create the events themselves, they're all on LinkedIn. Okay, so the people with the money, the people who run the businesses of racing, they're all on LinkedIn. I promise you this. So if you can create a brand and create leverage on LinkedIn, watch out. Okay, who's ready for our guest? Who is ready for our guest? Thank you guys so much. Make sure that you share this out. This is going to be a fantastic, fantastic show. I'm going to introduce to you right now our guest for this evening. He goes by the tag Self-Publishing with Dale, Mr. Dale L. Roberts. He is a self-publishing coach and guru. He absolutely crushes Amazon. He absolutely crushes YouTube. He is one of the hardest working content creators, just one of the coolest all-around guys you'll ever see. I'm going to see if I can get him up on Skype right now. And he's going to call in just a second. And I'm going to get Dale. Dale, if you're out there, come on in. Make sure you come on in. I can't wait to talk to him. But I'm gonna introduce him right now, Mr. Dale L. Roberts. Go check out his channel. It's called Self-Publishing with Dale. I'm gonna leave his channel link in the show notes down below. And I just want to give a little bit more context and a little bit more background. Well, here he is right here. Let's bring him in. Hey, Dale, how in the world are you?
What's going on, man?
Fantastic. How are you, sir?
I'm really awesome. I'm sitting here chomping at the bit. I'm like, he's going to let me out of this cage soon. I have to talk.
Yes. Down boy.
Yeah, I know. I get a little excited. I get all amped up. And I know a few people that are watching this right now are like, oh my gosh. Listen, folks, this is all natural.
Yes.
0 caffeine,
yes.
0 drugs. This is how I
Unlike
live.
me, I've got plenty of caffeine.
The snuggle is real. That is an amazing mug, man.
Yes, thank you. It's my wife's private joke on me, so nobody else really gets it but me. But yes, thank you for noticing. I appreciate. You're the first guest to notice that, actually.
It's my kind of mug.
It is your kind of mug.
Yeah, I'm out in California, man. I owe you a snuggle.
Absolutely. Hey! Let's not turn this show into something like that right off the bat. But I will entertain that snuggle. So Dale, welcome to the Nez Nation Live, first of all. It's great to have you with us. You've been on this show several times. You know how much I love your energy. You and I resonate beautifully together. We have a great rapport. We've actually met in person at Vid Summit. I met your awesome wife. Your wife has been on the show. She's doing terrific stuff herself with Print on Demand. She's got a great channel, and she does great live streams. So tell just for people who may not know a lot about you. Yes, Dale does not need caffeine, says Dan.
No.
Just for people who maybe don't know that much about you, go ahead and tell our Nez Nation audience a little bit about you, a little bit better in-depth background than what I kind of gave. Go ahead.
Well, I first of all, I heard you say guru, man, and I'm just going to wash your mouth out with soap. I sometimes find myself, with the name expert. You and I had this conversation between the two of us. I was like, I'm a bit more, a little bit leery about saying expert. I like to say I'm a self-publishing advocate, but not too many people will know what that means. What does that translate to? So my name is Dale L. Roberts. I always try to tell people, you got to include the L, because otherwise you're going to find a deceased footballer or somebody else. So Dale L. Roberts. And I'm a guy that is obsessed about self-publishing. And we're in the modern day era, the digital age, to where we can fulfill that book that has been sitting in the back of our mind or in our hearts more easier than ever. And so that's really what I try to do, is equip people with the same knowledge that I've picked up over the past 5 years, so they can realize either their dream of publishing a book, or even earning a little extra side income, or for that matter, doing what I do and becoming a full-time author and pursuing this as a passion.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I know that you have, and I apologize for saying expert. I consider it's more my perspective, and you can sense, guys, the humility, which I love, of Dale L. Roberts, forgive me. And to me, you're an expert to me, because anytime I have any questions about Kindle Direct Publishing or Amazon Publishing or anything dealing with self-publishing, I know that Dale is my guy to go to. You've built a pretty, consummate brand on YouTube, and tell us a little bit about your brand on YouTube.
The YouTube journey has been very interesting. It's been actually, can you believe this? You and I have known each other for over 3 years, because we met via Brian G. Johnson's group of Two Ritual. And you and I kind of came into the space right about the same time. And at that time, I was just trying to use YouTube in a way that I answered people's questions all at once, rather than through various forms like Messenger, email, Facebook groups. It was just becoming tough, and it was taking me away from my job and my passion of writing. And, initially going into it, I thought I was going to be able to just become this big, gigantic YouTuber and just rake money hand and fist. 3 years later, I'm just going to tell you that I've realized that that doesn't happen. There are unicorns in this business. Maybe that does happen but for me, it didn't work out that way. But I've learned so much in the process. And the nice thing is as I grew as a video content creator, it also helped me out as being a self-publisher. And I was able to see parallels between each of the businesses. So what I learned on YouTube, I was able to somewhat find the parallels through self-publishing and implement those in those practices. And so each of those brands were able to grow at the same time. So with YouTube, it's been stellar, man. I can't believe it. Pinch me. It's crazy. I hit bronze level earlier this year, being 10,000 subscribers or greater. They have unlocked a lot of things. Like I can have merch on my channel. I can go to the YouTube spaces. They give me stories. There's the community tab. I didn't have that for like the longest time. There's so much freaking cool things. And you know what? I may not have millions of subscribers, but I'm going to tell you, the 13,000 subscribers I currently have, I cherish each and every single one of them. They hold an important part in my heart, because they're people that are willing to endure my talkativeness and my over energy, my passion and such. And somehow it's infecting all of them in a positive way, and it's starting to lift them up. And dude, I can't tell you, and I know you get this a lot, but you get that email or you get that direct message of some sort that a person has a success story. I just had someone reach out to me today, their first book ever. Dude, I'm jealous, slightly, maybe envious. Their first book was number 98 in all of the Amazon store.
Wow.
Not just some sub-niche. This person was ruling it. And I was getting ready to say, do you got a business strategy going further out? Oh, She clearly was watching all of my stuff because she has books already set for pre-order for months out. I was like, oh my gosh, I love you. Like, I was like, this is crazy. This is nuts. I can't believe it. So, man, that's why I say this YouTube journey has been stellar. And, you know, there's some people that are still kind of grinding it out and they're trying to find their way. Just know that if you are watching me or you watch Nez and you go, I seen someone on Nez's show that's crushing it, or I seen someone on Dale's show that they're just crushing it, but I've been doing it for 3 years and I'm ready to quit. Never quit. Listen, folks, never quit. That's one of the things I have learned from YouTube. So that's all of it in a nutshell. That'll be the end of the Nez Nation show. So everybody, thank you for tuning in.
See you guys later.
I'm kidding. Don't click away, folks.
Well, no, I mean, I think this is really important because my audience, you know, this is the name of the show. Our live stream podcast show is Personal Branding 101, helping you to build your online reputation so you can grow, build impact, communicate your message, and reach the right people. So I think that what's amazing about your journey on YouTube, and I confirm and I vouch everything that Dale just said about building a YouTube brand. You know, and we're going to talk about LinkedIn in a second. I'm fascinated. I'm totally amazed, and I marvel that the opportunities now to create your own media company, essentially, the opportunity to accelerate trust. There is no greater, I think, tool to accelerate trust than video. And the fact that we have all of these unbelievable tools at our disposal under the umbrella of online, internet, social media, it just blows my mind. Why isn't everybody doing this? Why do you think more and more people are not, creating content? What do you I mean, I went live last night, Dale, and we're going to talk about LinkedIn in just a second. But don't do that, Charlie. Charlie says, I'll hit the red X right now. Don't do that, Charlie. How dare you? Chale down. But why do you think more people aren't creating content? Because last night, I did a live stream show to promote this show, but also I wanted to provide value because, you know, my whole channel is about mindset and messaging. I think the epicenter of your success is your inner game, not your outer game. I mean, I don't know if you know this about me, Dale, but I suffered from depression and anxiety as a young man, debilitating. And I took all sorts of pills. I took all sorts of doctors. Nothing worked until I went on a journey of self-education. And I researched and did my due diligence, and I practiced different methodologies. I read every book on the planet to where I'm able to now help people with my channel, which is the greatest feeling on earth. I echo your statement earlier. When I get a message, when I get a comment, when I get an email saying, Nez, I was suffering. I was stuck in my room, sweating. I didn't want to go outside. I've seen doctors. I've taken pills. I saw a couple of your videos, and for the first time in 10 years, I feel like I can breathe. That's the reason I do what I do. What do you think, Dale? Why do you think more and more people aren't creating content? Or are they? Maybe I'm being presumptuous.
You know, there is a lot of people out there creating, but I think there is a overwhelming amount of people that aren't. You're correct in saying that. There's a lot of people, and there's two reasons that pop off the top of my head that a person wouldn't want to create or isn't creating for that matter. One of them is going to be prioritization. I have so often to where I have these aspiring authors that want to break into the business, and they go like, oh, I got this great book. So what do I need to do for a marketing promotion plan? And I used to tell people X, Y, and Z, but now I've learned to ask them, okay, so what's your book? Oh, it's this book. Okay, so where is it at in the process? Have you published it yet? No, I haven't even written it. What do you mean you haven't written it? Oh, I just don't have the time. Now, let me translate that for you folks. When you say I don't have the time for anything, that means I don't have the time to do that. I don't have the ability to prioritize that into my schedule. I'm just gonna be point blank. I've said it too. If I've got one finger pointed forward, three are pointing back at me here because I've done the same. I say I don't have the time, and I'm sure when we start to talk about LinkedIn, that's gonna become one of those things so you guys can go, yeah. So the time thing, folks, it's not time. Everybody has the same 24 hours a day. Nez has got the same 24 hours as I have the same 24 hours. And so that's just gonna be a thing you're gonna have to get out of the way. If you wanna do it, you will create massive freaking action to get it done. And you'll figure it out. You could stop binge watching Game of Thrones for a freaking month. And maybe you can go ahead and start creating that book or putting those assets out there that will start to build that brand. Now, there's prioritization. That's one. The next one, and you and I can both agree on this, it's fear of judgment. Everybody gets stymied by this monkey mind that gets in the way. What if someone thinks about this? What if someone thinks about that of me? Oh, what if it's wrong? What if I get a 1-star review? What will my family think about this? I've got a very talented brother, someone I still look up to this day, and he is a talented writer, and I'm calling him out right now. He is sitting on scores of short stories that are fantastic, yet he holds back from the world something that could very well change someone's life, change their energy, get it to where they're impacted so much more than without that work, because he's afraid of getting low reviews. He doesn't think he'll be able to handle that. And folks, I hate 1-star reviews. I ain't gonna get around it. Every time I see it, it's like a punch to the gut. But I've learned to cope with it in better ways. So I would say that when you start to find yourself fearful that it's not going to be perfect, that it's not going to be exactly as it is in your brain in real life, get past that. Embrace the perfection in imperfection. That's the thing you got to always remember. There is perfection and imperfection. Just get it out of the way. Don't worry about judgment. There's going to be those people that will judge you poorly. Oh, well, get over it. There's going to be a lot more people that are going to judge you really great. They're going to be thinking you're awesome, that you're the bee's knees. Can you imagine, Professor Nez, if you had held back and you didn't do this and I didn't do this? What are the number of people that probably would have went on with their lives and chosen different things? Maybe they would have been worse off. So I want you, the viewers, listeners here of Nez Nation, don't let judgment hold you back. You just got to get good on being ready to get punched in the face and then look at that person or that specific object or even that monkey mind and say, is that all you got? Bring more.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you say this, Dale, because even last night I was talking about this. I was saying that, it's not that, there's this sort of running kind of thought processy or this notion that, you shouldn't be affected by anything, which there is an ability to not be affected by things. There is an ability to not take things personal, which I talked about. But I think that's just too far reaching and it's very tenuous for most people. And it just sounds like, to me, it's not inspiring. It makes other people feel weak about themselves. Well, why am I being affected by everything? You're a human being. You're going to be affected by things. What I try to advocate is don't let things stick. Be affected by things. You're a human being. It's when that thought train, I love how you said monkey mind, because we're on the same path here. I mean, I've studied this for years, and I can tell Dale is a definite, fantastic pupil of this methodology. That thought train, it's like one bad moment or one bad instant can pollute years of your life. If you let that thought train, that terror train run amok, that monkey mind run amok in your mind. And I think by taking a hard look at it, by really looking at it objectively and saying, where am I without this thought? Is this thought really true? Do I need this thought? So anyway, I don't want to get too into that, but we talked about that last night. And I love how you're kind of confirming everything that I said last night. And the reason that I think everybody should build a personal brand and everybody should build content is because everybody wants to succeed at what they're doing. Everybody wants to be seen in their industry as somebody who's got ethos, credibility, dare I even say thought leadership, or maybe some kind of expert in their field. And I think that in order to accelerate that trust factor, I think creating content, I can't tell you, Dale, and I know my audience knows this. This is going to sound like a broken record, but I'd love your thoughts on this, Dale. And I think Dan echoed this earlier. I can't tell you how many clients, how much money, Dale, I have made, and I'm not bragging here, I'm just excited and passionate, how much money I have made, how many people have said, Nez, I got 10 proposals. The reason I picked you is because your video blew me away. I use this one video as a CRM tool, Dale, and I send it to all prospective clients. And it's basically me looking them in the eye for 8 minutes, just being me and telling them what they're going to get from my services. Hey, Nez, nobody else sent me a video. Hey, Nez, your presentation, your professionalism, your energy, your voice, your sincerity, your authenticity, it shone through in that video. This is what I want to get to. It's a perfect segue, Dale, to LinkedIn video marketing, because if you're not creating content on LinkedIn, if you're not doing this on LinkedIn, if you're not creating video content, that's just one plausible revenue stream, or navigational tool for your business that you're missing out on. And so, I think the fear of failure, I think the anxiety of not knowing who you are. Aristotle said 2,000 years ago that self-awareness is your ultimate currency. It's funny that Gary talks a lot about self-awareness now, where I've been talking about self-awareness with my students since 1998. And I'm not like saying like, oh, look at me. I'm just saying I love it. I actually love the fact that Gary's on this self-awareness tip, because it just confirms what I've been saying for 25 years, and I love it. And so I think that's one of the factors, and I know Dale talks a lot about that, and I talk a lot about that. However, let's segue into the main course of the live stream podcast, Dale.
Yeah.
Why LinkedIn? Talk to me a little bit. Why is LinkedIn something? I mean, I've been noticing you, brother. I've been watching you. I know I've been on your show. I've talked about it. I am blown away by your voluminousness. Is that a word? I'm going to make it up. I don't care.
Somebody put it on Wikipedia right now.
But I mean, I've just been blown away by your frequency and your volume of content that you have been busting a move on LinkedIn. Tell us a little bit about the auspices, the beginnings of this, and why LinkedIn, and why maybe other people should start.
The start of all of LinkedIn, to be honest with you, was it was a link dumping ground. Ain't gonna lie to you. I saw zero value in it, because when I got out of my 9-to-5 job back in 2014, I knew that I was like, I don't want to get another day job. I didn't care. I left my resume just set there because it was just it wasn't as sexy as it is now. I mean, it's a far better social media platform. And even sharing it with my brother, where he even saw it, was just like, no. And then he watched the interviews with you and was like, oh my gosh, this is different. And it was our conversations between you and I that truly got me sparked and said, I need to stop sleeping on this. I need to stop just dropping links in here and treating it like it's my redhead stepchild. I want to get it to where I take it a lot more serious. And when you and I had this interview, and folks, you can always go back to my channel over Self-Publishing with Dale. Just look up Self-Publishing with Dale and Nez. You'll be able to pull up the two videos that we had together. They're fantastic. A lot of indie authors even said it has set them up for success over in the LinkedIn platform. The reason why you need to do LinkedIn as a business professional, it's because it's where all the cool kids are. It's where a lot of the people that are being taken seriously within the business industry and entrepreneurship in general go. That's where they hang out, and that's where they start to hang their hat, and they can actually share their accolades without seeming like they're bragging. You know, if I just go over and talk about my, numerous personal training certifications over on Facebook, people are going to be like, so what? On LinkedIn, they celebrate things like that. It's big, it's huge. And so that's why LinkedIn, I think it's just, man, and I would say over the past year, I've seen a huge growth in the networking opportunities. I've met so many people. I've even interviewed people because of LinkedIn. So, and before I go too far into LinkedIn, think of it as a minimum, folks, networking. It is an awesome opportunity that you can meet the likes of people within your industry. I think it was Madness 4x4 who had mentioned, was like, I don't know, it's not quite for racing. Oh man, there's all walks on there. There's all walks. I'm telling you, I've seen everyone from every single industry. Absolutely break ground over there. I would highly recommend you set up shop and start to connect with like-minded people, and you'll be surprised. It's going to really 10x a lot of what you're doing out there.
And also, I would even add to that, it's probably one of the only platforms left where organic reach is just out of this world. Would you agree with that, Dale?
It's ridiculous. Yes, you can actually just Google up most of the LinkedIn type posts and blogs. It's nuts. I didn't think it was going to be so stinking easy. In fact, there are some of my specific posts I've done over just on LinkedIn on a whim that pull up on Google searches. I'm like, how is this outranking my 300 YouTube videos?
Unbelievable.
It blows me away. Absolutely.
And also, what's really interesting to hear you say that, Dale, is that, Google's got search, right? YouTube's got search. Facebook, if you're not paying for traffic on Facebook, you're not getting any traffic. Instagram has hashtags and geo filters. Snapchat, I don't even know if Snapchat's even mentioned anymore. That might be a place that people should start reinvesting in. But LinkedIn is like this unbelievable jewel that was just found on a remote island. They were on a remote island forever. And as I said at the top of the show, ever since Microsoft purchased them for just a cool $26 billion, I got that in one of my trouser pockets, right? I could do that too. Just a cool $26 billion. That's nothing, right? The whole platform has changed. You've even got LinkedIn influencers now. You've got LinkedIn content creators. Technically, I'm a LinkedIn influencer with the amount of followers, even though I hate using that word. I like to call myself a LinkedIn ambassador because I love the platform and I make a lot of money. My business does really well with LinkedIn. Networking. I love the way you said that. Do you have any tips, Dale, for networking, and how has your video content enabled you to build relationships better?
It's pretty interesting. There is a couple do's and don'ts, and I think, and hopefully you'll expand on it as well. Do reach out to people and connect with people that are within your industry. Find someone that maybe another YouTube content creator, or maybe an author, or somebody that's in the racing industry. Whatever your niche is, find that person, search it up, look at their profile, see the content that they're putting up. Don't just randomly message people about your services and how you're going to make them. I get some people, and I had one person who got really salty with me because I wasn't going to use their service. I was like, no, thank you. And they were like, what, would you like to get onto a video chat? No, I'm sorry. I don't think you understood. No, I don't want to. I don't know who you are. And that's going to be the important thing, folks. I know there's technology separating us. There is a barrier between the two of us, but this doesn't mean that you should all of a sudden become courageous and start beating people up to buy your latest book or your course or visit your website. Reach out to someone and be a human being. Those are the best relationships that I get. I get some people that will see a video of mine. Perfect segue. You see that? I segue perfectly.
You know what you're doing. This isn't your first rodeo.
Yeah, that's right. So I get some people that will see one of my videos and they will, like it, and they will comment on it, and they'll send me a message like, hey, I just watched your video. That was so awesome. I'm just now getting into Kindle Direct Publishing. Is there any tip that you can recommend? Let me tell you, folks, this works with me. You want to know the way to my heart? Either A, buy me lunch, or B, ask me questions about publishing, because we'll go on for a while. So that's going to be the thing, is try to break ground with somebody in a very genuine way. Ask questions. Hey, Nez, I happen to see that you're a brand consultant. What all does that entail? And do you think I've got the right idea? Take a look at my profile, something like that. Maybe not even that, just ask questions. That is one of the greatest ways you're going to, first of all, learn and also get to know someone. So the video, this is great. And big shout out to my boy, Dan Norton. I especially saw some really, really good results. So what I was doing initially about last year when you and I had connected, I had started to just dabble. I just dabbled a little bit because originally I was putting just links. Now I continue to do links and those drive traffic, and I'm really happy about that. It's the videos that seems to stop traffic on LinkedIn to where people are consuming the content. And I tried it out with a short series I did with Rob Archangel. And we just did some general boilerplate type, questions and publishing, where should we publish to, that type of things. And I had the intent to do short as possible. I learned this at Video Marketing World. And, oh man, I think it's Anthony Ambrose, it might be. Super nice gentleman. I'm sorry, Anthony, if I got it wrong. And Judy Fox was there. You know who Judy Fox is.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Yes.
Judy Fox was there as well. But, one of the things they were talking about is, make it short, make it, power pack, like get some great value put in there, make it genuine and authentic, and get it right to the point. Put a nice ad copy within your specific comment, load it up with emojis. And he said, I know it sounds weird, and he was right. I wasn't doing emojis. I even tested with emojis, without emojis. When I do it without emojis, less watches. With emojis, oh my gosh. Closed captioning, drop closed captioning on there so it was burnt in and it was built in so people could automatically see it, works. In fact, I think I even blew your mind when I told you can upload an SRT file over onto video. Anymore though, I don't even fool with it.
Yes.
You could do a caption file, but honestly, folks, just put it in automatically, because this is where Dan Norton comes into play. So over the past half year, maybe it's been the past few months. I'm sorry, my days blend together. I had Dan go over and he took some of my best videos and then he turned them into what he calls square video memes. And it's fit square. It's perfectly branded. He has the title of a particular video, and all it was a YouTube video. I found the best stuff. All right. And I just said, okay, I need you to take this clip, make something with it. And man, I tell you what, that guy can really honestly he blew me away. He had edited regular video for me and I was like, oh, that's cool. But when I saw the square video memes, I was like, I would watch those all day long, because this is what we do on LinkedIn and other profiles. Scroll, wait, hang on a second, stop. It stops traffic dead. And people will watch and consume the entire thing. And I find more comments and engagement. And here's the funny thing, that what happens with what Dan does, the special magic sauce, is people actually go over to my direct messages more often because of those. And every single time it's, dude, how are you doing those videos? And I'm like, oh, awesome. Sounds like I'm going to be promoting Dan's stuff today. You're welcome, Dan.
Yeah.
Hey,
Dan, you owe him 10%. No, I'm kidding.
Yes. He owes me a dinner, but next time we go out to New York. But
and we're not talking McDonald's, folks.
No.
We're talking Maestro Steakhouse.
Yes, exactly. But I'm starting to really dabble and do a little bit more. It's my intent to prioritize more towards video content specific to LinkedIn, because I saw great results with the Rob Archangel feature, and I saw a lot of engagement on that one. And to a certain extent, I've seen a different type of engagement with Dan's videos. I want to meld the two together, so where it's specific to LinkedIn and has that stellar branding, because to me, I think that's going to 10x my relevancy here in LinkedIn. And as you know, relevancy doesn't mean that I'm irrelevant or anything else. It's more in play of how can we work with the LinkedIn algorithm to bring it in our favor? Well, engagement's key. Engagement and getting to where people are consuming your content and coming back to it again and again. So, I would bet in about another year from now, you come on back, you double back around, and you can give me a hard time if I don't do this. I will be doing LinkedIn, because it's a minute-long video. Come on, Dale. I've got a minute that I can just sit down and just wrap, put it on up, send it on over to Dan and be like, take care of that, buddy. And we upload it and start to build more of a presence there.
And I can vouch for this too. I'd like to confirm what you're saying, Dale. Beautiful advice. And Dan is in the chat right now. And if you go to Dan Norton's channel, check his stuff out. He's on LinkedIn. And correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, go ahead and leave your LinkedIn. You're Dan Norton. Are you Dan Patrick Norton on LinkedIn? If not, just leave your link in the chat. I'd have to say my top performing videos on LinkedIn are native videos, video square memes. And if you don't know what that is, branding on the top, branding on the bottom. You've got the title. You've got some attractive copywriting, which Dale, being a self-publishing, advocate, not an expert. I don't want to offend him. No, I like your humility. No, I'm teasing. But I mean, attractive copywriting, which is something we're going to talk about on this show in more detail in coming episodes. on your video, giving that it's really this, we call it the psychology of the scroll. When I tell my clients, you've got to understand the psychology of the scroll, because that's how you're going to do it. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how big you think you are. It doesn't matter how many subscribers you have. It doesn't matter if you've got 6 PhDs from Harvard. If nobody pays attention to you, it means squadoosh. It means goose egg. So you've got to understand how to stop the scroll. And this is great advice from our awesome guest, Dale L. Roberts. And we got some great content creators and video marketing gurus in the chat. Video square memes. You want to invest in that. I do that all the time. My top performing videos, even on Instagram, specifically on LinkedIn, though, there is no kind of reach. I don't have any kind of organic reach like I do, besides search on YouTube, like I do on LinkedIn. And this is something that you need to incorporate. What type of content? So that's more kind of like the technical aspects, Dale. What type of content do you find works well, specifically video content? What are you talking about? What is the substance of the content? What are you saying? Who are you helping? Who are you reaching? What are you trying to do with your video content? And again, I want to caveat this by saying that, I'm not in any way, shape, or form, because I don't want to put Dale on the spot, saying that Dale's a LinkedIn video expert. This is about sharing his journey. He has been going gung-ho, and I am not being hyperbolic, gung-ho, which is why I reached out to him, because I'm very impressed with his work ethic. I'm very impressed with his productivity. He has been just really doing a great job of going full steam on LinkedIn, and this is our way of learning from his journey. What have you learned, Dale, with the type of video content that you think works best in your kind of 12 to 18 months of doing this?
It seems to me that I need to go beyond saying the generalized statements. I have found when I try to be generalized, how to write a book. Well, you can find out how to write a book anywhere. What people want is the goods. They want you to deliver the goods. And what I find is more specific information based on the audience that you're wanting to reach. And I want to reach, first of all, experienced self-publishers or aspiring authors, people that are either trying to get into it or are currently in it. So those are the people I'm trying to reach. And so typically I find the ones that perform the best is the information, really getting in there. Because I have a couple videos based on like Grammarly, and I like Grammarly, I'm not gonna lie. And being an affiliate for them, it's nice. So when people get that, but people can kind of they're like, yeah, that's all right. It's when I'm putting in the information that makes people go, oh. So when I talk about basing, for instance, relevancy. We were just talking about this when it came to LinkedIn. So I'll talk about building relevancy on the Amazon platform with your publication. That's what gets people's attention. That's the stuff that people engage with and gets them going, I didn't know that. And so that's what is really going to help you out. So get it to where you're bringing some great value. And it don't always have to be a how-to. I know that I will just consume a lot of content just because it just grabbed my attention. I'll be like, I'm just going to stop and watch this. And it's going to be enough to where it's not enough that you just go on and try to shoot the video. Have a purpose. Know your audience and what are you going to deliver to that audience so it keeps their attention for at least a minute to as much as 3 minutes. Me, I like a minute. It seems to be like my happy spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you say that, because I actually have been doing better with, I do agree, and I think people's attention span on any platform, this doesn't really, I think this goes across the board, it's pretty nil, it's pretty low, right? People don't have time to watch, I mean, we've already understood that long form video on Facebook really doesn't work anymore. And when I say long form, I mean above 10 minutes or above 5 minutes. Long form video on YouTube tends to work pretty okay, tends to work pretty well. I mean, you'll see an average from some of the top YouTubers, average video times are 18, 15, 13 minutes. That's long. Yeah. On LinkedIn, what's interesting is my sweet spot, Dale, seems to be between 3 to 7 minutes. Nice. I'm able to, and I would advocate, and I know Dale probably, because this goes for any video platform, that the first 30 seconds are everything. If you don't let your audience know why in the world is their attention warranted, why do you warrant their attention? Well, then they're going to go. They're done. It's hasta la pasta. See you later. So you got to make sure that you let your audience know within that first 30 seconds. It's the same thing on LinkedIn. And so, yeah, I think what the gist of what I'm getting from you, Dale, is serve your audience, figure out the ecosystem, understand what is relevant to the specific platform. Who are the people that are going to get the most value out of this? Deliver, execute. And what I think I'd like to leave with is experimentation, which you've been doing a lot. Talk to us a little bit about your journey, because this whole channel is about mindset and messaging. And you said it beautifully at the top of the show that people tend to give up. They give up. They quit. If they don't see growth, if they don't see this, if they don't see any kind of vanity metric you want to put up there, they tend to give up. They're like, you know what? I'm done. I'm finished. This platform sucks. Hasta la pasta. See you later. How have you been able to experiment, keep going, and what does it take? What does it take to keep your presence strong, to keep that engagement strong, and to keep yourself from those feelings of, why isn't this happening? And is it even warranted to say, why is this not happening, or what have you?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to have a little mustard on your face, folks. I used to be, it's going to happen in life. And that's why I say embrace the perfection and imperfection. You got to be okay with not getting it right. I see this a lot across everything, whether it's LinkedIn, YouTube, KDP, self-publishing in general. They're like, it doesn't work. Well, it's because you haven't had the patience to make it work. If you want it, that's on you. That's not on LinkedIn. That's not on YouTube. That's not on Amazon KDP. That's on you. If you really want it, you're going to figure out a way to make it work. You're going to need to experiment. And in that experimentation, you've got to be self-aware. You need to play like you're the employer and you're evaluating the employees' decisions and what they're doing in their workspace and what are the results they're producing. And from that point, when you analyze it, you can start to say, you need to try this, this, or this, and then move forward. So anytime I see good results, I don't go, well, I'm done, or that doesn't work. I'm always thinking, okay, this is gonna work because it's working for people that are crushing it over on that specific platform. LinkedIn, some people are just doing killer right now. So I'm not willing to give up just because it doesn't work in the first month or the first 3 months or the first year. I'm probably about a year into doing this whole thing. And you know what? I look over at my YouTube journey. It took me 3 years to break into this whole thing, but it's because I never gave up and I really tried my hardest to do my best and try to succeed at this. And I hope that you would do that too, going into LinkedIn. Give it a shot, try it, study it, go in, consume the content, study who is working, what's working for them, why is it working, and how you can model their specific efforts with your own brand, with your own delivery and message. You don't want to go over and start pretending like you're hashtag Nez Nation. No, don't be Nez Nation.
There's only one Nez Nation. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, precisely. You got to be yourself. Create your own path. Build your own path and understand this. It's not going to work right away. Some people, it will work for them right away, but that's on them. That's them. Don't worry about them. And, to kind of wrap things up, and I'll put we'll kind of put a fork in it and call it done. Andrew Can from TubeBuddy put it really good in a tweet here the other day. He said, is it the fault of the bike store that you don't know how to ride your bike? No. And of course, I paraphrase this. He was looking at some of the people that expect YouTube to make them succeed. Like, YouTube, you owe it to me. No, the bike store just provided you with the bike. It's up to you to figure out how to ride that. There are manuals out there, you can consume it. Heck, in this instance, YouTube actually provides the manual to how to ride it. And that was the one thing I was just like, yeah, I took from that. And so there are many ways you can study how to succeed on LinkedIn or any other platform. You just got to understand you're going to get on that bike and you're going to eat it. I promise you. You're going to probably scab up your elbows and your knees. But eventually, If you really stick to it, you're going to ride that bike, and my gosh, you'll be crushing it before long.
Wow. Well, I can't think of a better way to wrap up than that wonderful message of authenticity, relevance, be yourself, don't give up, don't expect anybody else to do it for you. Dale, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing with us your journey and sharing with us everything that you've been kind of doing on this awesome brand new, I keep saying brand new because it really has become like a brand new content creating platform and a brand new place to create such a strong presence and brand, especially if you're thinking about advancing your career, building a community, and more importantly, building a business. I want to give you the floor as we wrap it up here. Why don't you tell people where they can find you, how they can get a hold of you before we get out of here?
Yep, make this really simple. If you want to learn how to publish books that sell and build an unstoppable author brand, make sure that you subscribe to me over on YouTube at Self-Publishing with Dale. And if you want to make it even easier still, just go on over to selfpublishingwithdale.com, and it has all the resources that you'll need.
Absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Dale. I really, really appreciate you guys, and I appreciate my awesome guest. Make sure I'll also leave where you can find Dale in the show notes on the podcast and as well as in the description here on this video. I want to say thank you guys so much for joining us on the live chat. Thank you so much for listening on the podcast. Thank you for watching the replay. If you're not creating content on LinkedIn, if you're not attempting to build a personal brand on LinkedIn, I'm telling you right now, folks, you got to get cooking. You got to get started. If you need any help, you can always reach out to yours truly. I am an executive career coach, personal branding consultant, personal branding coach, and keynote speaker. If you need any help, you can find me at Nez at ProfessorNez.com, or just go to ProfessorNez.com and you can find all the relevant links to get a hold of me. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed to our channel or subscribed to the podcast, make sure you do, because we're bringing monster guests like my man Dale L. Roberts to help you to build your influence, build your online reputation, create value so you can serve an audience and grow yourself. We love you. We love you. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, y'all.